concerns raised by some of the neighbors. It's completely understandable that people view this issue personally. We all care deeply about our homes and our community. The truth is, the majority of San Clemente residents value and participate in this event. It's become part of our city's core identity and something that brings people together week after week. This is the largest weekly free community event in the county, possibly in the country, and doesn't cost the city a dime. It attracts automakers showcasing new and prototype vehicles, movie cars, and even Formula One cars. We get to see them right here in San Clemente. Visitors meet celebrities, see rare cars, and enjoy a positive community atmosphere that spans generations and creates quality time with parents, grandparents, and children. The event also provides volunteer opportunities for Camp Pendleton Marines, allowing them to earn their volunteer hours with LOAs to help progress in their professional careers while helping foster a positive and respectful relationship with the city, as well as the youth, which is something that we're incredibly proud of. 20% of our social media followers are right here in San Clemente. That's over 300,000 views out of our 1.5 million annually. And 75% of those are working, voting adults over the age of 35, active members of our community. When it comes to charity work, we've supported the annual Toys for Marines Drive, Chalk, the Boys and Girls Club, and charity shows for people like Chip Foose with Amy's Depot, as well as Cruising for a Cure for men's prostate cancer awareness. Giving back has always been at the heart of what we do. Our event drives significant foot traffic, creates local jobs, and adds millions to the local economy, not just the outlets, but across the city. It brings visitors from across the state, across the country, and even from around the world. We've been featured in the San Clemente Journal for putting San Clemente on the map. Our social media reaches more than 5 million views every month, the highest in the city. We've been featured on shows like The World According to Jeff Goldblum, Hot Rod Garage, Wheeler Dealers, and The Ride That Got Away. Even influencers, celebrities, and people like Dallas Reigns have shown their support, all of which bring positive global attention to San Clemente. The reality is that the majority of San Clemente residents value and participate in this event. It's become part of the city's identity, and as one speaker noted at a recent council meeting, Laguna Beach is known for the Sawdust Festival and Pageant of the Masters. Huntington Beach is known for the Air Show and the Surf Festival. San Clemente is known for cars and coffee. The city should be proud of it, embrace it, and support it.
Yeah!
Since posting details of the upcoming city hearing on social media, the community support has been nothing short of overwhelming. The posts have had over 600,000 views, over 2,000 interactions of support, dozens of shares on the post's personal, business, and community Facebook pages. We've had over 5,000 signatures on our petition supporting the event. Even ABC7, Dallas Reigns, and Jay Lena's Garage have thrown in their hats in the ring with support. When it comes to noise and emissions, compared to the nearby I-5 freeway, which carries about 260,000 vehicles every day, it's 1.8 million cars a week, the impact of our event is minimal. Event traffic makes up less than 0.04% of that volume. The noise and emissions are negligible by comparison. We tend to think that the many, many positives of this event outweigh the few negatives, but sometimes as a city, we make small sacrifices for the greater good, for something that benefits not just a few of us, but all of us. Let's discuss some of the proposed options by the City Council. Reducing the event to once a month. This would cause confusion, result in unmanaged weekly attendance, and lead to significantly larger and more disruptive events on crowd days. Requiring the event to pay for sheriff services. This would establish a precedent that extends beyond this event, as a responsibility for public roadways does not fall on private businesses once patrons leave the property. Let's say that, for instance, someone goes to Nick's and leaves in a disrespectful manner. Would Nick's be responsible for paying for the sheriffs to handle these situations? Absolutely not. This is the responsibility of the city. In the last meeting, we were told on record that there was additional budgeting for 2 additional officers to be stationed. In addition to this, charging admission would drastically reduce the event attendance by an estimated 75%, harming local businesses, eliminating the event's viability. It would also create severe traffic congestion due to the administrative process of checking and or charging admission based on entry. This goes for registering for the event as well. Banning motorcycles would just cause them to congregate in the parking lots outside of the event, which they're allowed to do if they're going to Starbucks, for example, leaving them without anyone monitoring them or controlling their behavior. We want the same thing. We want drivers to leave quietly and respectfully. We want kids not to congregate on the bridge, encouraging antisocial behavior. But currently, we are exceeding the requirements of the CUP on the property. We should, not only should we not have to control crowds once we leave, but we also have no authority to do so. The city gets 85% of the revenue from the citations, correct? This means that the city has more than enough money to pay for this. And as the person, one of the people that owned this, we don't have the money to pay for the cops. As much as I wish we did, we don't. Paying for the sheriff is a small price to pay for the city, considering what the event does for the city, for the community, the economy, and considering the event as it stands currently costs the city nothing. Here's the bottom line. If this event goes away, people will still show up, but without us, there won't be anyone to organize it, guide it, or control it. The success of the outlets is closely tied to the viability of this event. If it fails, the community and the local economy would feel that loss deeply. So while I absolutely respect the concerns of a few neighbors, I ask you to see the bigger picture, the benefit that this brings to our city, our businesses, and our people. When we started South OC Cars and Coffee, for my dad, it was just a way for him to share his passion with cars with his friends, and for me, little father and son time. We got my mom Sarah involved, and she started organizing volunteers. Our family grew, and all of you became part of our South OC Cars and Coffee family. Never in a million years could we have imagined what it could become today. Not just the size of the reach, but the friendships, the memories, and the sense of community that it's created right here in San Clemente. When we moved here from the other side of the world, San Clemente welcomed us. This event and everything that we've built together is our way of giving back to the city that welcomed us with open arms. South OC Cars and Coffee is more than a meet. It's a celebration of creativity, connection, and the vibrant and historic car culture that started right here in Southern California. It brings people together, supports our local economy, and showcases our city to the world. We're proud of that legacy and remain committed to keeping the event safe, respectful, and beneficial for everyone. Thank you so much for your time, for your consideration, your continued support of this incredible community tradition, and thank you so much for everyone that showed up today.
I'm Kai Walensky. I am a car enthusiast, car owner, and also a former lifeguard with the city, so I'll be nice. But I just wanted to let you know, we haven't really considered that we have the Olympics coming in less than 2 years, and you will be doing a disservice if we end this show or even try to modify the CUP. So I really do believe that this Cars and Coffee has reinvigorated the outlets and has brought so much revenue stream for the city. And personally, I've talked with a lot of employees that work at the outlets, and they've definitely considered that if you take this show away, we'll lose a lot of business. So just the budget that we have that you're trying to modify with that, you know, we already are gonna increase the budget for law enforcement in less than 2 years for the Olympics. So definitely reconsider your modifications, and thank you.
Thank you, Kai.
Share that sentiment. It's a personal event. It's iconic for our community. It's a highly cultural and social event that we need to respect and honor. I'm delighted that the outlets has allowed this to occur. I want to say in my support of the Cars and Coffee that the noise concerns that have been expressed do affect some people, but that when you get off site, every citizen is responsible for their own conduct. And if someone gets on a public street and they're exercising, they're speeding, they're exercising demonstrations of speed and acceleration, we have a police department 24/7 in this town that's done a great job of monitoring our streets and citing the people. And I think they're doing a good job and will continue to do a job. I don't support adding additional police officers to this event and having the event pay for them. We pay for them. When we have a high school event or other social event, we send sometimes dozens of deputies to monitor those events, and I think we're doing that here pretty effectively. I just want to say, in terms of the magicness of this, you know, several people spoke about the young people that attend this event. As I was hearing that, it made me think, when I was 13 years old, I visited my dad's family, his hometown in Bremen, Indiana, and there was a Ford dealership there. And when I was 13 years old, I got to go to the showroom and sit inside a baby blue Mustang, 64 Mustang. And I gotta tell you, the feeling that I experienced just sitting in that vehicle, I can experience today just thinking about it. And I think that's important for our young generation to experience the iconic event that's taking place. I support it. I don't think it needs additional support. And I want to just thank the sponsors and the outlets for for making this event possible in our community.
Connections that are created by this is probably to me the most important aspect of the Cars and Coffee. I know whenever family comes, we always go to Cars and Coffee. I think I mentioned earlier, I was there to observe this weekend to see what the problem is. And I've talked to many people about what that problem is. And I want to talk a little bit about that too, because I've seen what the security and safety measures, and we had when I guess the head of security talk about how it's under control. I've seen what has been done to ensure that there's public safety at the event, that there's guidance on signage and movement and hours, and so Simon has done an extraordinary job in controlling all of the security and safety on premises. The importance of community I've mentioned. The thing that we have failed to mention, and we had two people come and talk about, is the impact on our business and the business community. We have tried repeatedly in this town to create a friendly business environment to bring business into San Clemente. And if we change that, businesses will notice, and they won't come here and do business in San Clemente if we chase them out. If we impose restrictions on them, if we put conditions. That's the problem with government sometimes, is we try and regulate too much activity, put red tape on companies so that they say, well, that's not a good place to do business, and they don't come. So I'd like to control that. I think business is important to our community. We need the tax revenue. We don't have the tax base that we really need, so to me, that's an important consideration. Third, I talked earlier to staff about what the real issue was, and they said to control the sound, all right? And then I asked about what the ticketing was for, and it's an issue of speed. So there's a disconnect between writing those tickets to control sound and enforcing speed limits. They don't connect, and in fact, probably if you listen to a Ferrari or other cars, a lot of the cars are very loud, but they're street legal. They can be on the street and make the kind of noise that they make. We have some old cars too that make a lot of noise, but there's nothing that can be done about that. Finally, I asked the sheriff at the last meeting whether he had the ability, with the resources he had, to control the situation that was the problem that was characterized as being a problem at the outlets. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, but you did say that you had the ability to control it without any additional staff, without any additional resources, that you could do it. And I think, as evidenced by the report where you did give citations on a number of weekends, you were able to control that staff. We had a meeting this morning, and I think you were able to confirm that that's what really happened. So it's a problem. We had a few people last time talk about the problem. I think the problem can be addressed. I don't think everything needs a government solution, and sometimes it's better to let the people that are running the organization figure out what needs to be fixed, and they can fix it the way they think is appropriate without the government telling them that they got to do A, B, C.
Yeah!
The people wanting to speak to us, we were a little worried. This is thoroughly enjoyable to see such a positive vibe from all walks of life, telling us that how you enjoy this event. I want to say that if every participant of that event are genuinely friendly and law-abiding, like the attendees today, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have that problem. We routinely have about, as I heard, we have about 500 cars, close to 2,000 attendees, and they are not bad apples, and that's a fact that we have to recognize. And if we look at the summary, just citing two targeted enforcement in one by CHP. According to the staff report, there were 159 citations. Out of the 159, 102 were considered by our law enforcement officers with a CHP to be related to this event. Out of that 102, 49 are speeding. That means 53 are other citations such as reckless driving, loud muffler, running red light, and so on. And then on another day down by OCSD, our sheriff department, we have this 3 deputies issued 83 citations, with 28 for speeding, 20 for red light or stop sign violations, and 11 for using mobile phones while driving. So 3 deputies working from 7 to 1:30. That's 6.5 hours. They issued 83 citations. That's 4 citations per deputy per hour. They're working nonstop. So there is an issue that there's, aside from the normal congestion issue, there are public safety issues. Apparently, we cannot deny that there is an issue, and they're causing some negative effect to our neighbors. And they came to the council to make complaints about those noises and the speedings and so on. They are real. I believe that the city do need to address those issues. Out of all the recommendations, let me go to the easy ones. I think install signage prohibiting unsafe climbing around the freeway overpass, such as pedestrians must remain on sidewalks. And that's straightforward and a very simple step. We should do that. I'm not sure that I can support reducing the frequency of events to less than weekly. I think it's a weekly event, and I support to continue it. By the way, I don't believe anyone on the council intend to kill the event. No one wants to shut you down. And that was made very clearly at the very beginning. I like your event. I think event is what makes San Clemente a good place. And I welcome you to come. I want you to continue. So let me put it out there up front. The other suggestions by the staff require a participant spectator registration program. My feeling is this goes too much. I don't want our government to have heavy surveillance or become a police state situation. So I'm not going to support that. Staff about the cost. I was told that each camera would cost about $5,000 to $6,000 per year. So 4 means anywhere between $20,000 to $24,000 per year, which averages to 200. Am I right? Yeah, $200 to $250 per month. That's the cost. We'll come back to it later. Modifying the participants' egress to and from the event area and associated directional signage. I think the organizer is already doing that. But if we have any way to improve it, I will support that. Prohibiting motorcycle participation in the Cars and the Coffees event area. I'm a little conflict on that. On one side, I recognize that law enforcement recognize this is the most problematic issue. When they chase them, they just scatter around. And they don't always have a helicopter to follow them. But in general, I think if we were to add some law enforcement resource to help to mitigate this situation, I'd like to see how it works before I support this. So at this moment, I would say, let the motorcycle stop. They're a unique part of the car show, and they should continue to be the fun part of it.
Yeah.
I would support that we add some law enforcement to it, because I believe that the issue needs to be addressed. I do recognize the benefits this event brings to the city. I also want everybody to understand that The nexus means that if the event causes or has a causal relationship with a foreseeable impact, that establishes a negative, and the government does have the police power to regulate it. In recognition of the benefits this event helped the city economy, it doesn't help that much for the city coffer, by the way. We receive sales tax, that's minimal. Because if you look at the citation, yes, we do get 85% of that, the base fine. If you're speeding by 15 miles per hour, your base fine is $35. Your total fine is 200 something. But we got 85% out of that 35, which is about a 20 something dollars. Not a lot, not enough to cover the extra cost that we need the police officers. So I do recommend that we add 2 police officers. But I'd like to offer that maybe the city can split that cost by paying for one of them. So that's my position on that. Thank you.
I am a big fan of Cars and Coffee and what it does for our city, the camaraderie, the community, everything is fantastic. And everyone that is part of the event itself are wonderful, good, amazing people that are here for that community, that are here to celebrate the car culture. And I don't believe anyone on this council wants to do away with cars and coffee. So I just want to put that out there. All we're looking at here is how do we, when I ran for office, I wanted San Clemente to be safe and successful. Cars and Coffee brings in that success for the city. But I have to address this other issue of safety as well. And it's not the safety of the event itself. The event, you guys are running wonderfully, absolutely. And my applause goes to you because of how great it's done. But you're almost a victim of your own success because people are coming in, and maybe not who are coming from outside the town, other places, and they want to go down some of our streets and some of our residential areas, and it creates an unsafe environment for our kids, for our children, for our e-bikers, and that is my worry. And it's not you are, please, thank you. What you are doing is great. So all this is asking is for a little bit more of an officer presence in order to make sure that our streets are safe. Safe for our kids, safe for our e-bikers, safe for our community. And when doing the math here, looking at the costs, if you have 300 cars coming in, and let's say you would organize how to raise some of this funds, but we're looking at, in order to cover this cost per week, you're looking at about $5 per car. So,
Just killed it.
So
Let the council members speak.
So I would just say again, I love the idea of Cars and Coffee continuing on a weekly basis, but if we want to continue, and it is growing, and you will continue to grow, and I love that it's going to continue to grow. But in this growth, we also have to protect the citizens of the city as well. And so that is where these two things come together. And I believe that having that middle road is a good compromise for how we can work together and both have safety as well as the success of the show itself.
Okay. Yeah, I'll weigh in, and just be mindful, what same complaints that we have here. So it wouldn't be just to not address these complaints, and that's why we're kind of here. So that's why we're doing this. So there are concerns, and so I just looked at the concerns one by one. And the first one I want to say, James, I've been in constant contact with your dad. I know he's in Australia dealing with an ill father right now, and we're still emailing back and forth with different ideas. So that's great. He's been great, and I think since our original meeting, that was a while ago, but you've been hitting the social media and reminding people to be respectful. That's great. I see the comments that come, and 99% of them, people comment say, yeah, we do need to do that. Very few come on there and say, oh, rev the engines higher, you know, I mean, it's been really, really good. I think continuing the relationship with you and your dad is really, really important on this, because I think it's gonna be more beneficial to be able to block and parry as we go and address issues as they come up, instead of having straight restrictions and whatever to start with. I just think it's more of a fluid situation. The sheriff situation, I definitely think we need sheriffs to be monitoring this. With that, I did the numbers, and I've worked a little bit with the sheriff too, and I know a little bit about law enforcement and deployment. And I really think if we do reasonable deployment of our sheriffs, not even every Saturday necessarily, but spot it, which actually ends up to be more effective if they know that there's sheriffs there all the time, but they drive slower, which is what we want. But it's kind of hard to sustain that for a city. But I think if we can manage our deputies, the city can pay for that management. We can deploy them out of our regular deployment.
Yes.
We do have overtime fund that I know that we use, and the deputies like to use that overtime fund come around Christmas and, you know, all that. And if we can bring them some income when we write tickets, that's great. But I did the numbers. I don't think we need to rely on that. I think we just need prudent deployment of our sheriffs, and I'm confident that we can do that. The license plate readers, I'm a big fan of flock cameras. Boy, I wish we had more of them. I mean, because we catch murderers, rapists, all kinds of criminals with them. I'm just not sure that they're applicable to this event. I mean, if the sheriffs are patrolling and they see a speeder or whatever and they stop them, they write them a ticket. It's not like, well, somebody got away and we're gonna go later and run their registration. I mean, you don't even know who's driving the car. So I like them. I'd love to have more license plate readers. That's on the council to figure that out, and not on the Cars and Coffee.
They installed 2 of them in December. We already have 2 of them.
Great, you know, that's absolutely, I appreciate that, James. We go to the motorcycles. Okay, boy, oh boy. You know, when I came into this meeting, I thought, you know, this is one really, because motorcycles are one of the things that make the most noise when they're coming and going. And I said, yeah, well, let's not have them in the exhibit area. Yeah, they can still come. You can't stop a motorcycle from coming to the outlet, so they're still gonna come anyway. And then, yeah, if there's the exhibit area, at least we can keep on having this conversation, James, with your volunteers, and, you know, there'll be some interaction instead of them being a completely different event, which is what it'll turn into. Also, your dad, one of the first things he did, we talked about, you got a lot of volunteers, but, you know, some volunteers are more proactive than others. And we talked about deploying the ones that are more proactive in the places where you need the interaction. And he was all over that. I know even a week after there was people down on the freeway, you guys went and cleared the freeway. So you've really made a lot of inroads in cooperation and really wanting to police your own event. And so I have to compliment that. So the one thing I do like on the suggestion, but I don't think it's on the Cars and Coffee. I think it's on our staff, modifying the participants' egress and egress. We can take one of our flashing signs out to where people leave by Chick-fil-A, or put some cones out just to slow them, you know, slow them going out. I think that's a great suggestion. I think all your suggestions are really, really good. I think we've mitigated most all of them from just the cooperation with Cars and Coffee. I like Victor's idea of tabling this with the direction to staff that we want to work on signage or anything that we can do to mitigate the traffic issue. Table it means it could come back in the future, and I think that's what it should be. But I have all the confidence in the world. Like I say, my relationship with your dad has been phenomenal. I hope my relationship with you grows to be the same thing, James. And when somebody's ready to make a motion.
I'll move the table.
I'll second.
Okay, I'd like to put this up on the screen if we possibly could, Madam Clerk, for voting.